Hi guys, this is Danielle Clarke here from Corner Canyon. I'm here with the Queen and with Fabio, and I've been asked to quickly share some highlights from the 2022 NCTE conference. The theme was Sueños, Pursuing the Light. It was all about including more diverse texts in our standard curriculum and fighting racism with the works that we choose to teach in the classroom. Okay, my favorite keynote speaker actually talked about information literacy, and I was so impressed with her. She was so intelligent, so informed, so articulate. I was blown away. So Seema Yasmin is a physician and medical researcher turned journalist and poet. So she's blending the arts and the sciences really well. Currently, she teaches science journalism and global health storytelling at Stanford University. She's written a couple of books, many books, more than these, but these are some of her recent ones. What the Fact and Viral BS. Those are about the spread of misinformation, especially when it comes to healthcare topics. And this one, If God is a Virus, is a book of poetry that leans on her medical background. So what did she talk about that I loved so much? Well, she talked about the need for us to teach our students information literacy skills. And I guess that spoke to me because this was the first time that I had created sort of a formal mini unit about information literacy. And I plopped it in right ahead of my research paper. And I know it was rough. It was the first time I'd done it formally. But the students were very receptive to it. They know it's a problem. If they didn't know it was a problem, they were surprised at some of the things we talked about. And so it was just, I guess, a timely topic. She specifically talked about how she's been working with the World Health Organization to try and understand why the misinformation spreads so quickly. And she said something that resonated with me. She talked about how the misinformation is done through storytelling. It's anecdotal in nature. And so the World Health Organization and other credible organizations were trying to combat the misinformation with statistics and data. And she said that doesn't work because it doesn't have the same power that a story has. That the story has more power to impact the human psyche and affect the human emotion than just cold data points and hard facts. And so she's been working with them to kind of tell the correct information with a storytelling element. So I loved that because I believe in the power of stories. I think stories have a rhetorical place, impact on the audience. And then there is a huge need, I think, for this generation to learn those information literacy skills. So I loved what she had to say. It was just really timely for me. Okay, my favorite session was Kelly Gallagher and Penny Kittle. They don't really need an introduction. They were talking about their recent publication for essential studies, and they were focusing in on just one of those essential studies, which was digital composition. So they did some research and they were asking college freshmen to tell us where they felt underprepared in terms of writing when they get to college. So they said that there was a huge gap, that students felt very underprepared in digital composition because apparently they go to college and they're required to create digital compositions, and we don't do any of that in the high school. Now, I do have a question about who was surveyed, how many people were surveyed, where they were surveyed, how broad that survey was. But if that is the case, if that information is reliable, then I was thinking to myself, well, I have some work to do. By digital composition, we're not talking about on Google Docs or even, using Canva to do something. They were talking about literally videos, creating videos. So video arguments, video poetry analyses, video summaries. And I thought that was kind of interesting because they make videos, but they don't do it as a genre of writing, as in, and I think I have some work to do if that's true. Okay, my second favorite session was the NCTE George Orwell Award session. I knew nothing about this session going in. I just kind of picked a room and popped in. And this spoke to me because this was about the George Orwell Award, which I didn't know existed until the conference. And they award this award to writers every year who are who have clarity and honesty in their writing. So this session was about teaching students to remove gobbledygook and lofty, effusive language in order to improve clarity and honesty in writing. So why did I like it? I felt validated because I'm always telling my students, get rid of the fluff, say this in half the words, because your effusive language and your superfluous writing is muddying your point. I'm all about clarity all the time. I'm always harping on them to be clear. And so they gave me some tools that I could use with them. But it also led to a really interesting discussion, or actually debate, where some teachers were challenging that. They were saying, actually, there is a place for lofty effusive writing, for sentences that take 4 lines and have 3 appositives in them. And that led to a broader discussion of the rhetorical situation. And, so anyway, it was just right down my alley. The suggested actions: pick up William Zinsser's On Writing Well. And this, by the way, is a really classic text on how to write well. So I just liked that one. Okay, NCTE, if you go there next year, here's my tip number 1. The session descriptions are often misleading. They have to make them to fit the theme. And so sometimes you think you're getting something and you get something else. So with that in mind, I would maybe next year plan which ones I want to go to, and then also plan to just pop in on one that maybe has a big audience or maybe a small audience, because the sessions, sometimes you went to a session thinking you were going to get one thing and you got something very different. So maybe just dropping in on something that maybe didn't look that great to you might actually be beneficial. Okay, tip number 2, bring a sandwich. They don't actually give you a lunch hour. So the first couple of days I was like, I didn't want to miss any of the sessions. And so I came underprepared. I needed more snacks. Bring a sandwich. Okay. Or plan to miss some of the sessions. And then tip number 3, Michelle Ritter taught me this: go for the swag. They hand out free books like crazy, and bring an empty bag with you to check on the way home so that you can take that swag home and build your bookshelf. It was a great experience. I loved being there. Thanks to Leslie and Scott and our faculty here who helped get us there. Really loved it. See you later.